Welcome to episode number 12 of the Between Two Brands podcast. I'm your host, Bill Petrie, and I have some exciting news. I just received a 12 episode contract extension to continue to be the host of this fine broadcast, which means we're at least going to episode number 24. I don't know about you, pretty damn excited about that. Tell you what else I'm excited about. Let's pay a few bills. Hey, if you haven't noticed, there's been a ton of changes in the promotional products industry the past few years, from big distributor moves to supplier consolidation. Frankly, it's hard to keep up with it all. Um, and that's why today I'd like to start off the podcast talking about something we don't talk often enough about the promotional products industry, and that is stability. Now, with all the changes that are happening at an increased pace and all the time, it's just as important to talk about companies that are established, stable, and strong. For over 90 years and 4 generations of family ownership, Shapenco has genuinely cared about the success of their clients. And that's you, Mr. and Mrs. Promotional Products Distributor. That truly is the definition of stability. Now, here's another thing. Pencils are the original eco-friendly promotional product, as they're entirely made out of naturally sourced materials and have been, well, for centuries. So as we approach Earth Day here in just a couple of weeks, your friends at Shapenco have the ideal, cost-effective, useful, and impactful branded merch for all of your Earth Day needs. Now, one final point, if I may, since they only sell through promotional products distributors, Shapenco is dedicated to doing more than just delivering quality merchandise at a fair price. They go that extra mile to ensure every distributor project is a complete and resounding success. It's the right way to do business, and that's how you continue to be stable and strong heading into the next 90 years. Now, the bottom line, Shapenco has absolutely stood the test of time to experience the products and the people. Head over to shapenco.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. All right, so today, as I'm recording this, it is Wednesday, April the 2nd. I'm very excited about our guest today. I'm going to wait a few minutes before we bring that person on. And I think it's time. Every once in a while, I get something, that bugs me, just like all of us do, a pet peeve, something that gets us hot under the sports collar. And today I have let's call it a merchatorial. April Fool's Day is a garbage holiday. I said it, and I'm happy to say it. It is the least funny thing we as humans have ever invented. It's worse than prop comedy, puns, dad jokes, and mimes combined. I am more likely to laugh at a ventriloquist telling a knock knock joke where the punchline is my wife. Honestly, pranks, which is what this holiday is based on, pranks are to humor what urinal cakes are to baked goods. It's the worst, truly, thing we've ever done. And it's increasingly worse with corporate social media. Simply, it's all based on posting things that just aren't true. So I'm going to give you 5 reasons why they are all excruciatingly unfunny. Here's number one. They're all excruciatingly unfunny. That's the first one. That's the whole reason for the list, but it might as well be number one. In 2018, Elon Musk joked that Tesla was totally bankrupt just days after a stock plunge. Investors didn't love that so much. Hooters ran a contest that culminated on April 1st for a weights person who sold the most beer. They would win a Toyota, a toy Yoda. In our industry, a few years ago, Numo rebranded, openly mocking a competitor in the Koozie Group. I hated that. And I even got this yesterday. I have subscribed to Javi, which is a cold brew coffee concentrate for the last year or two, and I needed to end my subscription because I was just getting too much coffee. It took me 45 minutes and 3 YouTube videos to figure out how to cancel a subscription. We know how that works. It's easy to get into the subscription, but much like Hotel California, you can check out, but you can never leave. I finally unsubscribed, but yesterday I received an email from them confirming an order. And I'm like, I just canceled this thing. And it was like, oh, April Fools, you have to actually order it first to get a confirmation. None of it's funny. It's all dumb and it's all designed to make us feel stupid. So, number two, it's creepy and manipulative. These pranks are always based on making someone else look stupid for believing what is true. Not really a great quality. Number three, everyone becomes more of an ass than usual. In a time where we could all use a little bit of kindness, in a time when we feel more divided as a society than ever. Why are we celebrating this? Why are we celebrating people being jerks, companies being jerks, brands being jerks? We could all use more kindness. Why the hell are we celebrating this? Four, they are beyond unoriginal. All the jokes rely on a weird backwards day assumption. It's almost basically, oh, this is true. No, it's not. Oh, but this is true. No, it's not. Gotcha. It's almost as if the day is a license for the unfunny to try their hand at comedy, and the bar is exceedingly low, yet few actually cross that bar. It's really, really bad. And number five, and maybe the worst one, the day forces us to become far more cynical than usual. In an era where we all live right now, it's impossible to know what is or isn't true on the news, on the internet, anywhere on any given day. I sure as hell don't believe a damn thing I see on the internet on April 1st. For example, most of you know I went to Texas A&M. I'm a huge Texas A&M fan. Our basketball team did a decent run into the NCAA tournament, and I read that coach Buzz Williams was leaving for the University of Maryland. I didn't believe it for hours because I assumed it was an April Fool's joke. Hell, my wife had heart surgery yesterday to replace her implanted device, a defibrillator, and a pacemaker combined. I was reluctant to post about that because I assumed people would think I wasn't kidding. So it's just this weird thing that forces us to become even more cynical than we are. So I call upon all brands, please stop doing this. It's dumb. It's not funny at all. And trust me, I have a great sense of humor. I don't think there's anybody who knows me who wouldn't say I have a great sense of humor. I have yet to find an April Fool's Day prank from a corporate perspective, certainly even remotely funny. So, hey, knock it off. But I'll tell you what you don't want to knock off. Hey, many people know how to build a business, but few understand not only when to sell your business, but the process involved to ensure you find the right partner to maximize the return on your investment. Honestly, you need an expert, especially in the branded merchandise space, to help you. And that's where our good pals at Certified Marketing Consultants come in. Jamie Watson and her team have decades of experience facilitating private company sales in the promotional products space. So to help you evaluate if it's time to sell your business, reach out to CMC at info@certifiedmarketing.com for a confidential discussion today. All right, thanks for rolling with me on my little merchatorial this morning. Why don't we go ahead and get right to our guest? Well, today's guest needs absolutely no introduction, but as I like to do, I'm going to waste his time, your time, and my time by doing it anyway. He was announced as PPAI's next president and CEO in December of 2024, a scant 3 months ago. A dynamic, creative-minded leader, he brings more than 2 decades of experience in brand strategy, experiential innovation, and organizational growth. With a track record of delivering results across nonprofit trade associations and for-profit sectors, he has earned recognition as a strategic thinker who drives growth and growth, easy for me to say, and fosters in an environment of collaboration and inclusivity. Most recently, he served as the Chief Experience Officer at Marketing Professionals International, or MPI, where he oversaw 7 core business units: marketing, creative strategy, membership, events, media, chapters, and volunteers. I went to Texas A&M, and that does add up to 7, even with my poor math skills. Please join me in welcoming the one, the only, President and CEO of PPAI, Drew Holmgreen. Drew, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Bill, thank you for having me. That was a very, very warm, nice introduction, especially coming from an Aggie. I know that you got to bite your lip a little bit sometimes when when saying words like distinguished about a University of Texas alum, but I appreciate you just suffering through that and making it cordial. So thank you.
Oh, oh, absolutely. You provided that, so it was nice because
Yeah,
you
yeah. Read
wrote
the
it.
fundamental. Yeah, yeah.
Because I went to Texas A&M, I spent 4 hours understanding most of the words, going into dictionaries and thesauruses or whatever you say. So I finally think I understand it. Kidding aside, it is great to have you here. Welcome to a very weird little industry, but I think you'll come to enjoy it if you haven't already. I think you have a couple things you thought we should talk about before I ask you some five easy questions so we can all get to know you just a tad better.
Yep. Yeah. 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 For sure. So, in the air of your Between Two Brands podcast, I wanted to start with something that kind of does just. It's going to be a little bit of dig. It might hurt a little bit, but I'm giving you multiple choices here. Okay.
I just realized I've been in this industry for 26 years. I'm dead inside. I have no human emotions. You
This is
can't hurt me.
this is going to pull new pain up. So,
Okay,
but you get to
let's
choose.
go.
Fun. You get to choose.
Okay.
So, if you were going to rank the worst moment in Aggie
Yeah.
football history among these, which of them was it?
Okay.
First, Ricky Williams breaking the all-time rushing record against the Aggies during a victory in Austin.
Okay.
Second, Justin Tucker kicking a game-winning field goal at Kyle Field in the last game of the Big 12 matchups before Texas A&M left for the SEC.
Hmm.
Third option, Texas beating Texas A&M this past year at Kyle Field in the renewed rivalry, first year in the SEC. So those are your three options. I'm going to give you an out, and you can say D tied all of the above.
I'm not going to take the out because
Good for you.
that's what a Longhorn would do. I will wear the hat of responsibility. I think the most painful one, honestly, was this past fall. The Justin Tucker one, as the Aggies rightfully left the decaying Big 12 and in the Longhorn Network and all these silly things that went on with that, and went to the nurturing bosom of the SEC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was okay. It hurt, but it was like, hey, we're leaving anyway. It would have been nice to left on a high note. Did not happen. What are you going to do? This last fall, A&M, you felt like, okay, they have a good team, and it hurt. It hurt a lot. As Aggies, we are used to bitter disappointment. I think I shared with you, and I share with anybody who listens. Anytime Texas A&M is doing well and they're going into a big game, and I say, please don't forget that Texas A&M handles sports success with the grace and dignity of Lindsay Lohan, and that is factual. So all of them hurt on some level. But kidding aside, it is kind of fun to have that rivalry again.
Yeah.
I missed it greatly. It's joking aside too. University of Texas is an incredible school and a great city. I always going to school in College Station. Trust me, not a lot going on. So I may have spent a measurable portion of my time in College Station, not in College Station in Austin.
Well, Bill, you mentioned my work in the for-profit, not nonprofit sector. Little known fact, I was one of my clients was Texas A&M for 5 years.
I
Uh,
read that. I was going to ask about
so
that.
yeah, so one of the agencies where I worked, Belmont Ice House, great creative boutique based here in Deep
Yeah.
Ellum. We were awarded the brand account for Texas A&M while I was there, and for 5 years
Hmm.
worked on the account. I was the lead strategist on it. Our team did phenomenal creative, did a really cool spot with Kevin Sumlin, who was the football coach at the
Hmm.
time. Did a whole campaign around Johnny Manziel's Heisman Award. I mean, just did some great work. So
Yeah.
I will tell you is that I honestly, I'm the Longhorn who just I dig the rivalry, but it's a great school. The way that my friends would call me a sellout, and I'll say, well, for one, A&M checks cash, so that's
Yeah,
not
they do.
yeah. And it's also it's a product that I may not want to consume personally, but as a brand guy, I get the people who do, and that's my target, and that's who I go after. And for those people, it is a wonderful institution. It's a great culture. you can't spell culture without cult for Texas A&M.
I get
But
that.
it's so
That's fair.
wonderful.
That's fair.
And as just a football fan, I went to see multiple games there that weren't Texas games because I got buddies went to
Yeah.
school there. It's the best football environment, hands down. Hands down.
It is. And, we talked this podcast called Between Two Brands and, two very different brands in the
Yeah,
University of Texas and
absolutely.
Texas A&M. Let me ask you this. You worked, pretty intimately with Aggies for 5 years. Did you walk away when you were done with a different appreciation of that fervent, that cult-like dedication to the maroon and white and understand why that exists? You may, like you said, might not be for you, but did you say, okay, I'm not sure I'm going to make fun of it as I used to. I still will make fun of it because you have to, but it's a different level of understanding.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I mean, again, being kind of a lifelong Longhorn, having grown up in Austin, Texas fans are very fickle.
Oh, the word I was going to use was entitled, but fickle's fine.
It's because we keep winning. But anyway, so
One of my sons goes to University of Alabama. I understand all about entitled fans.
yeah. But the thing about Texas fans, we're very fickle. If we don't get our 10 wins, if we don't get our 9 wins, if we don't get our 20 wins in basketball, just keep
Yeah.
translating it from sport to sport. Um, we just kind of get like, forget it. I'm not watching. A&M fans don't care. Don't care. Like A&M, and I mean, I'm not trying to rub salt, but A&M based
No,
preseason ranked number one in the country has fallen on hard times. But you know what? My buddies who are baseball fans, they are I got a text last night scratching cats. You know why I got that text? Because
Mm-mm.
Texas State beat number five ranked University of Texas last night.
Yeah.
That's the kind of passion that sits there, and it's wonderful to see that. Texas fans don't most universities, I would say, don't have that. A&M's got it.
I would agree, but here's where I'll call out my alma mater a little bit. I wish we didn't have such a bizarre fascination with the failure of the University of Texas. I
Oh,
always, when we were in the Big 12 or even in the Southwest Conference, I always rooted for Texas to do well, except when they played A&M, because my thought process was, okay, if A&M can actually eke out a victory, it makes us look better if Texas is a good team. So I don't have this bizarre hatred. Well, I do. I don't have it outwardly though.
yeah,
It's not like, my son, like I said, goes to the University of Alabama. He's graduating here in 5 weeks, which is fantastic. I wish nothing but failure upon that school.
yeah,
And he knows it. He
yeah.
knows it. And by the way, he hates Texas. Hates Texas. We went
That's
to the
not uncommon.
Alabama game 2 years ago where Texas came in and just pretty much took him apart.
Yeah.
And it was a rough game for him.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was wonderful. I remember the
Awesome.
moment and spot when I watched that. I
Yeah,
was in Louisville watching it. Every moment of that was fantastic.
I'm sure. Do you have another topic you want to bring up, or do we go right into the questions? It's up to
I've
you.
got one more,
Sure.
and where I kind of was working a little bit to break you down. This will build you back up a little bit.
Okay.
So the Promotional Products Education
Yeah.
Foundation, PPEF. Um,
Yes.
First off, I'm going to thank you because you are so heavily involved in that. You have done wonderful things from a brand perspective. You are a worker bee, man. You put a lot of time and effort into doing marketing for it. So first off, thank you. From a strategic perspective, there's a number of different things that I've identified alongside the board and the leadership team here. There are things we've identified that we can make better for PPAI and the industry going forward. The foundation is one of them to really uplift it, to give it more visibility. What I would ask you, question for you, is where do you think the greatest opportunities lie for the foundation?
So thank you for the kind words. I'm not sure they're deserved, but I'll take them
Very,
anyway. When I became the vice chair of marketing, it became very aware there were not enough people in the industry that were aware of PPEF. So I'm a big believer in driving people towards brand preference. So we're talking about a not-for-profit where people are giving away their disposable income. They cannot give to PPEF or the American Heart Association or whatever if they're not aware of it. So I want people to prefer that some of their discretionary income goes to PPEF, but first we had to create awareness. And my thought was we needed to humanize PPEF. It's wonderful that we can say, hey, we gave out $320,000 in scholarships this year, and that's impressive, but it's a number, and we're so inundated by data, it just kind of passes through the transom and you go on to the next thing. So my goal is to really humanize it. And so we came up with a pretty nice campaign of every scholarship winner was asked to record a 5-second video where they just said, I am PPF, and really wanted to see how this money impacts these kids. Not everybody has parents that have a robust 529 plan. And so this does really help people. And the fact that also it doesn't have to be college, it can be trade schools, it can be things like that. It's wonderful. So, what do I think we can do? We can continue to humanize it. We continue to really focus on every corner of the industry to really make sure they understand you don't have to donate a lot. Every little bit helps. Number two, the absolute impact it has. The next thing we're going to focus on is stories of people that have gone through college and now work in the industry
That's great.
because, and further humanizing it. We have generational people who now are working in the promotional product space because they were able to get an education due in very large part to the good work of the Promotional Products Education Foundation. So I'm real passionate about it. I could talk about it for hours, but it's definitely it's almost one of those sleeping giants within PPAI that I see. The other one is Lead, which I know is next week, and unfortunately I can't be there. But there's a couple sleeping giants we need to get the awareness better on, and so that's my thought.
Agree completely. And again, as I mentioned, that's a significant strategic priority. The board recognized it in our just our board meeting just this past month. Boy, we spent a big chunk of time talking about it because there's such opportunity there. I legitimately think that it can be a 7-figure annual give back.
Wow,
I don't
that would
think
be a great jump. That's lofty, but I love it. I love the loftiness.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big jump to get there, to be quite honest. I've seen this work
Awesome.
exceptionally well at MPI where I was with their foundation, and
Mhm.
just pulling a few levers, creating some new opportunities. I think we can get there.
Well, I absolutely love that, and I love the passion you're bringing to everything. And I know you're drinking from a fire hose right
I
now, but
am,
I
yeah.
love I love the fact that you're passionate about that. So thank you for your input and work. Okay, are you ready to get to know yourself? Because I don't think you even know yourself.
I
That's
have
how
no idea who I
confident.
am or where I am, so let's do that. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Now again, there's no wrong answers. This is not like when I talked to Kirby. At number one, as the new president and CEO of PPAI, we've identified that. You've openly talked about emphasizing moments of joy, which I love. Could you define what a moment of joy is and how the greater volunteer community can support your vision?
Yeah. So the way that I'll define it within the context of what we do as marketers is that moment of joy and connection with an emotional connection to a brand in this case. So it's that moment where in our case, you identify with what a brand is doing and you identify with it personally and emotionally, and you find a way to tangibly connect with that brand. So it could be something as simple as I'm a baseball fan, so
Mhm.
we had an event at MPI in San Francisco, and they made little baseballs for us.
I love
So
it.
this was an emotional tie to the event brand that we created for our attendees. I mean, I sit here and I just kind of throw this baseball around all day. I gave that to my son too. That's a moment of joy. I mean, I get joy from having this. My son has the baseball too. He gets joy from that. It's when you get just that, man, this is cool. I really like this. And now I have a connection to this brand. That's a
Yeah.
moment of joy. Now, what can the volunteer community do is like that baseball or like other meaningful branded merch. Think about how that translates to your clients. Think about how that translates to the products that you're coming up with, how you can create those connections and that emotional appeal to a brand and to your end target to then bring joy about. So to become more strategic in how you approach branding and how you approach just merch in general.
I love that answer. And it's very similar to what I always share with distributor audiences when I'm doing any sort of speaking in the industry is I tell them, you're not salespeople. So stop thinking you're selling. You're not. You are marketers, and your job is to make emotional connections using branded merchandise to convey a message, to move someone to action. I look at promotional products or branded merchandise as a time machine. You're talking about that baseball. When you might just sit there and throw it around like lazily or just not, mindlessly, but every once in a while, you probably pick it up and kind of you're instantly transported back to that time when you got the ball. You might have been with some people, those things are magical. And I don't think, we get jaded very quickly in this industry. I've been in the industry 26 years. Eh,
You're only 30 years old, man. You really
I
that's
am not 30 years old. Um, but I was just speaking at ASI Fort Worth last week, and I said, do you know anyone who's successful that is jaded? I don't. So I challenge them to go down that trade show floor. And I've said this at Expo as well. Go on that trade show floor like the first time you ever walked on a trade show floor in this industry with the wonder and magic and really what we can do. So I love that. And then the volunteer part of it. I was just a guy in the industry until I decided I needed to give back. So many people had given back to me, had encouraged me, had helped me, and it's transformed my career is giving back and helping PPAI in many ways, and then a lot of the regional associations. So I would encourage anyone, if you're on the fence about getting involved, don't be. Get involved. We need your voice, we need your thoughts, we need your input, we need your time, we need your talent, we need your passion.
absolutely, absolutely.
Before you came to PPAI, question number B says, you were the chief experience officer at MPI. In your time there, what was the best, worst, and most bizarre piece of branded merchandise you ever came across?
So the best was kind of twofold. So I'm going to give a 1A and 1B answer. I was at a show in Barcelona and
Hmm.
was talking with, it's called IBTM World. And a gentleman came up to me and he was handing out lanyards and bracelets, this one right here. And he started telling me the story about it. And the story is, so these bracelets that he creates, he goes to third world countries, gives jobs to people who are underemployed, and basically ships them all of these all of these materials, and for a very high wage has them put these together, and then he works with brands to sell them and market them and get them out into the marketplace,
Very
and it's
cool.
lanyards and it's bracelets. And I loved this, and one of the things that he has on it is one of my favorite color is green, so he said green is good. And there was an interesting connection there because at the time I was working on an event for MPI, and our theme around that event was harmony. And he said, "Well,
Hmm.
that's kind of funny because on the inside of this little coin there is the word harmony. So I'm going to give this to you." And I was like, "Wow, did you just make that up? What just happened there? That was magic." So that was really cool. The other thing that I liked, and I actually grabbed a sample of it because I always seem to have beer with me. I thought this was something cool that we did for two of our events. We actually did branded beer. So
Hmm.
this is an event that we put on called EMAC. And it's
Hmm.
kind of hard to see on the label there, but it says beer me, but me
Yeah.
is the word EMAC. And I just,
Ah, very cool.
this was an event that we put on in Brighton, UK, and very laid back scene, very pub scene. And so really cool piece of swag that we put together there. Um, so on the worst side, I'm not going to call anybody out. I always feel bad about that.
I will. You can't. I can, but I won't.
Right. So all yeah, you can do it based on the definition I'm going to give you. So the worst kind is the kind that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Whether it's a t-shirt that's a size small when I'm clearly not a size small, or it's an item that just doesn't make sense for me personally.
Yeah.
Again, I won't call this one out, but even at the ASI show, I was handed something there, and I very nicely said, "Oh, no, thank you," because it made no sense to me. It was just
Yeah.
going to end up being passed on to somebody else, which is great. But if you're going to create something and hand it out, just make sure that it's meaningful to the person. Um, so yeah, that would be the
Yeah.
worst. I'm not going to call out
No,
anybody that. that. Yeah.
I agree. To me, the worst piece of branded merchandise has zero thought behind it of
Yeah, exactly
the
right.
message, the audience, the usefulness, all of those things. Because there are there's so many great options at all price points. They can
Yeah.
be very value focused. They can be
Yeah.
high end. They can be everything. And I have stuff I use all the time, but there are a few things I will never pick up. I will not call anybody out. I did that last week with my podcast with Mandy Rudd, so I won't do that again this week. But there are certain items, products I just don't care for. But I loved
Yeah.
your answer. And if you guys don't know Drew, and I don't know Drew very well, we're getting to know each other now. One of the things that really encouraged me about you coming into the industry is you had experience with not only just marketing and branding, obviously with your past, but also with promotional products. I think it certainly speeds up the learning curve exponentially. So really excited about that. All right, question three. Part of your role at PPAI is being on the road speaking and visiting members. I think we just spoke about. You're going to be about on a 3 month road trip here pretty soon. What are the five pieces of branded merch that are always with you when you travel?
So a few things. One is one of the so I always try and get some exercise when I'm traveling, especially. Just it's a wellness thing for me, not just
Absolutely.
physically, but a mental wellness thing for me. I tend to work through a lot of stuff in my head. One of the things that I always carry with me, and this was maybe not great branding because I don't remember what brand was on it. It's now worn off, but essentially is a shoe bag. So
Okay.
it's a nice shoe bag that I've got oversized feet, so I can fit a pair of shoes and my workout clothes in it. So when I am traveling, they're all kind of kept within a nice container because let's be honest, they don't smell great after I use them, probably not even before I use them. And so that's something that I always have with me. So next week when we go to DC, I will pack some workout clothes in there, go run the mall, and be really happy about that. So I always have that. Um, I am a charging freak. If my watch gets
Hmm.
below 80%, if my phone gets below
Yeah.
80%, I start to flip out a little bit. So I
Yeah.
always have mobile chargers. Our winner of the Voice this year, Rupt,
Yep.
this is one of my new things that I've added to my arsenal. It's a great three-way charger for AirPods, Apple Watch, and iPhone, and then the
Hmm.
iPhone charger you can take off, and it's got a mobile charger to it. Oh man, when I saw him on stage with that, I was like, I got to find my way to get one of those. So
I'm the same way when it comes to charging. I get tense below
yeah,
75%. Yeah.
flip out. And then I always have, I mean, drinkware is one of the top categories. I've always got a refillable water bottle. Yeah, there you go. The one that I typically carry with me, and I don't actually have it with me now, is one from an agency where I used to work. So that thing is 8 years old. It is covered in stickers, and it's my favorite
Love it.
go-to. It's beaten up and it's broken in spots, and it's gotten some use. But yeah, those are the things that I always have with me.
I love it. Yeah. And I always think you can find out a little bit about people. Okay, you travel a lot. So what do you take with you? What's important to you? You said you're kind of a hoarder of chargers. I am as well. But my worst for me is backpacks. I was just in my attic a few weeks ago, and I have probably 26 no kidding, not exaggerating, like 26 backpacks. I'm constantly in search of the perfect backpack. I come back to the same one, yet I refuse to say that's the perfect backpack. So that's just my issue.
Well, we've
Uh,
got a really nice backpack that we did for lead this week.
oh,
I'll see if we can. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get one in your hands. Yeah.
I'd love it. Quick about lead. If you don't know about lead, lead is my favorite thing. I think it's the most important thing PPAI does. It stands for Legislative Education and Action Day. A group of people go and advocate on behalf of small businesses through the lens of branded merchandise and promotional products. It's something I've gone to 9 of the last 10 years, and I cannot go next week due to a personal situation here. Nothing bad, but I just can't make it. And I'm already not going to be on the internet next Tuesday when this is on, when going on. All right. You're an avid runner, and from what I understand, you enjoy the craft brewery. What's more disappointing after finishing a 5K? Discovering the beer tent only has Miller Lite or receiving a merch bag that's filled with fidget spinners that just didn't sell in 2017?
Those things have a shelf life of past 2017. That's see, this is good
Oh,
for me to have.
they have a shelf life because they're sitting on suppliers' shelves because they imported 50,000 of them and the fad was over before they could unload them.
Um, I have recent experience with this, and I'm going to go with the former of the two. And not to say that there's anything wrong with non-alcoholic beer, but I finished, and I mean, again, everybody has their own choices. But I did a
Sure.
10K about a month and a half ago, and within on the ad on the flyer, it said free beer, and so of
Yeah,
course, like I'm going to do this event. There's free beer.
of course.
So afterwards, I get my medal. I'm all excited about it. I'm walking around. I'm trying to find the beer tent, and I find it, and it's Corona 0.0. And I walk over. I'm like, "Hey, where's the regular beer?" And they said, "Oh no, we can't serve alcohol." And I said, "Well, I'll go get a banana then." So
Yeah,
yeah,
that that's
that was a massive letdown.
yeah, that's sad and unfortunate. Did it,
Yeah.
they at least have lime for the zero point
No,
zero
no,
beer?
nothing. I mean, for one, it was
Okay.
Corona, and
Well,
I'm not a huge fan of Corona to begin with. And Dallas has so many good craft breweries that would have donated beer for this. I know some of
yeah.
these brewers, and they are athletes unlike
Right.
me, and they like to get in front of people. So yeah, I
Yeah.
went out and had it. It was fun.
Growing up in Dallas and frequent visitor, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law still live there. My mom still lives there. My favorite beer of all time, not is Shiner, which grew up with, but my
Yep.
favorite Dallas-based beer of all time is Revolver Blood and Honey. I just
Oh,
that,
it's a wonderful
that's
beer. Yeah.
it's high octane.
Hmm.
Uh, Two's the limit for sure, but it's really good. All right, final question for Drew Holmgreen. You've achieved great success. Clearly, I mean your resume is amazing, but you've achieved great success despite having attended and graduated from the University of Texas. Do you plan on taking some lessons from the Longhorns and hiring a minister of culture at PPAI? And why would it be Danny Rosen?
Because Danny Rosen does the best Matt McConaughey impression. Ask him to do all right, all right, all right. He does it so
I've
well with a
talked to him
good,
about that. I've talked to him
yeah,
about
great
him. All
Texas
right,
accent.
all
And
right.
ironically, I've got a call with him tomorrow, so I'm going to get him to do that impersonation for him. Boy, if I could hire Danny to do that, absolutely would do it. I think he is much more interested in being the chair and my boss than actually reporting to me, which he gets to do next year. So that's fun.
He
Yeah, I
does.
mean, in terms of culture, look, that's one of the great things about this industry. It's people, the staff here, our board is that culture
Yeah.
of joy and positivity. So in some way, shape, or form, I kind of feel like the entire board and a lot of the staff here are the ministers of culture. I think we're in a good place there. It's a matter of just continuing to uplift that sense of joy and positivity and just keep driving
Well, I love that answer. And on behalf of all seven listeners of this podcast,
it. My
we want to
mom is
wish
going to listen, so that'll be eight. You'll be good.
super. We might hit double digits. We might. Can't say that we will, but we might. But I truly want to thank you. We're all here to support you. Your success is our success. Every single person I know is rooting for you and is willing to do whatever. So thank you. Thank you so much for taking on the job.
Yeah, of course, Bill. I said this on stage, and I've said it to anybody who will listen. It's an honor, and I'm excited about it. When the opportunity was brought to me, it was an absolute thrill. When I got the call from Andrew Spellman, I was floored because I knew that I could do the job. I knew that I was equipped for it. I'm not going to call myself young, but I felt like I was relatively young. To get it.
Yeah,
I knew that I could crush it with all of the support that I've gotten from the board, from the community, from the staff, and it's a joy, man. I'm super
good.
excited about it.
You're younger than me. You're 48. I'm 55. So trust me, you're young in my book. But I'll tell you who's not young is our good pals at Shapenko who are sponsoring this
Excellent. Thank
episode.
you.
They've been around. Yeah, they've been around for over 90 years, four generations of family ownership. I tell you what, they do branded merchandise right. If you are looking for a cost-effective, made in the USA product, especially for Earth Day coming up, can't do better than Shapenko. Visit them over at shapenko.com. Drew, again, thank you, and we will see you next week.